If you cannot trust yourself, you cannot even trust your mistrust of yourself, so that without this underlying trust in the whole system of nature, you are simply paralyzed. You didn't come into this world. You came out of it like a wave from the ocean. You are not a stranger here. There is nothing at all that can be talked about adequately, and the whole art of poetry is to say what can't be said. If, then, my awareness of the past and future makes me less aware of the present, I must begin to wonder whether I am actually living in the real world. I owe my solitude to other people. In reality, there are no separate events. Life moves along like water. It's all connected to the source of the river, is connected to the mouth and the ocean. For there is never anything but the present, and if one cannot live there, one cannot live anywhere. Like love, the lighter guidance of truth that influences us exists only in living form, not in principles or rules or expectations or advice, however widely circulated. In looking out upon the world, we forget that the world is looking at itself. Our pleasures are not material pleasures, but symbols of pleasure attractively packaged but inferior in content. I have no other self in the totality of things of which I am aware. Instant coffee, for example, is a well-deserved punishment for being in a hurry to reach the future. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. But the attitude of faith is to let go and become open to truth, whatever it might turn out to be. The experience of sexual love is therefore no longer to be sought as the repetition of a familiar ecstasy, prejudiced by the expectation of what we already know. This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it is play. Try to imagine what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Now try to imagine what it was like to wake up having never gone to sleep. Meditation is the discovery that the point of life is always arrived at in the immediate moment. To be free from convention is not to spurn it, but not to be deceived by it. The more we struggle for life as pleasure, the more we are actually killing what we love. We do not come into this world, we come out of it as leaves from a tree. As the ocean waves, the universe deepens. Problems that remain persistently insoluble should always be suspected as questions asked in the wrong way. But the attitude of faith is to let go and become open to truth, whatever it might turn out to be. You are a function of what the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is a function of what the whole ocean is doing. The full splendor of sexual experience does not reveal itself without a new mode of attention to the world in general. To know nature, the Tao, and the substance of things, we must know it as, in the archaic sense, a man knows a woman, in the warm vagueness of immediate contact. But the devil is the point of survival, going on living, when it's a drag. But you see, that's what people do. The menu is not the meal. The graver part of human activity is designed to make permanent those experiences and joys which are only lovable because they are changing. Philosophy is man's expression of curiosity about everything and his attempt to make sense of the world primarily through his intellect. The more inward and central the form of activity, the less it partakes of the mask of the ego. To unveil the flow of thought can therefore be an even greater sexual intimacy than physical nakedness. Man suffers only because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun. Sexual yoga needs to be freed from a misunderstanding attached to all forms of yoga, of spiritual practice or exercise, since these ill-chosen words suggest that yoga is a method for the progressive achievement of certain results, and this is exactly what it's not. Things are as they are. Looking out into the universe at night, we make no comparisons between right and wrong stars, nor between well and badly arranged constellations. The more a person knows of himself, the more he will hesitate to define his nature and to assert what he must necessarily feel, and the more he will be astounded at his capacity to feel in unsuspected and unpredictable ways. Sexuality is not a separate compartment of human life. It is a radiance pervading every human relationship, but assuming a particular intensity at certain points. The scholar tries to learn something every day. A student of Buddhism tries to unlearn something daily. But the attitude of faith is to let go and become open to truth, whatever it might turn out to be. Genuine love comes from knowledge, not from a sense of duty or guilt. Never pretend to a love which you do not actually feel, for love is not ours to command. So then, the relationship of self to other is the complete realization that loving yourself is impossible without loving everything defined as other than yourself. The positive cannot exist without the negative. Your soul is not in your body is in your soul. Money is an abstraction. It cannot, of itself, buy any pleasure out in Watt's boat whatsoever, because all pleasures involve skill and love. The source of all light is in the eye. For eternally and always there is only now, one and the same now. The present is the only thing that has no end. Life seems to be a system that eats itself to death and in which victory equals defeat. Human desire tends to be insatiable. The mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. The ego self constantly pushes reality away. It constructs a future out of empty expectations and a past out of regretful memories.